as we talked on Monday about cross-selling opportunities, one of our great partners in that opportunity is GTL. GTL is like the granddaddy in the hospital indemnity industry. One of our strongest carrier partners and a great fit specifically for what we do in the Medicare world, being able to offer products that complement the products that we sell. So as we talk to customers that perhaps already have a Medicare plan in place that's a good fit for them, in many cases, there's going to be opportunities where there's additional help that they're going to need, and you can still find a way to service and bring value to these individuals. For our existing clients, as a part of our normal follow-up process, just to make sure that our customers are being taken care of, there's going to be opportunity for cross-sell as well with our existing clients, which means across the board, whether your interactions with customers wind up being a no to them purchasing a new Medicare product or not, or yes, in either case, cross-selling other products like hospital indemnity and final expense are going to be opportunities for you. So we've invited Demetri Simos from GTL to just talk about GTL and share some exciting information with you about their products and services. So with that being said, Demetri, I will turn the mic over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. And I'm going to be sharing my screen. So everyone should be seeing the screen that talks about Advantage Plus Elite there. John, as I was listening to you opening up this morning, I'm actually very happy to hear you say what you said in terms of being an all year round agent or advisor, because I think that's such an important piece of the whole puzzle to make sure that we're doing this all year long and kind of keeping the pipeline going as part of AP is part of this process. OEP is part of the process, but there's also other months in the year that you can still help people. So I love it that you brought that up and kind of make that as part of your mantra in terms of overall how you guys do things over there global. So I was really thanks for bringing that up. That's totally what we totally think about here on our end. But and also thank you for setting up, letting me know that there was opportunity today to talk about our hospital indemnity plan that we have to offer here at GTL. Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to go through a lot of information, and feel free to take notes. If you do have any questions along the way, use the chat function on the Zoom, so this way we can make sure we can capture any kind of questions that you may have at some point, because a lot of times I know how I am personally, so want to make sure we I forget things pretty quickly on when I'm got a zillion things going on. So use this chat function to put your questions in, and this way I can definitely answer those for you when I'm done kind of going over all the overall product information that we're going to cover today. So let's get started here. I'm going to talk a little bit about GTL because I think it's important that that everyone knows who GTL is, a little bit about the company. Guaranteed Trust Life Insurance Company. That's the full legal name. As you can imagine, everybody knows this as GTL because it's a lot easier to say. But we're located just outside of Chicago in the northern suburbs in Glenview, Illinois. We were actually founded in Chicago proper in 1936 by Richard S. Holson, and today we're being led by the third generation of Holsons. So the current president, chairman, and CEO of GTL is he's the grandson of the founder, and so his name's actually Richard Holson III. So, but he goes by Rick. We're so lucky that Rick is at the helm of this ship here, because he's really a CEO that's for about sales type of CEO, which is really good for all of us. On both sides of our line here today. We really try to do everything we can to make it make it good for the agents and the insureds at the same time. So there's a really good balance there, and we're fortunate there. But that is a picture of our home office, which is in Glenview, and we house about 300 employees out of this building, and we do everything out of this one building, from customer service, claims, underwriting, sales, shipping of supplies, everything. IT's in here, so a ton of people in here So it's nice. The positive about having it all in one spot is that, if there's ever, any issues, or any situations that I need to handle, I can walk a few steps and get to the people I need to get to and talk to, and help solve an issue. So, that's definitely a big positive, I think, from a service perspective. We are a mutual insurance company. So that means we're, the policyholders technically own GTL. We are licensed in 49 states overall. So the only state that we can never do any business in as a company would be New York. And then from an AM Best rating, we're an A minus, and hopefully over the next year, maybe two, can get that moved up to an A. So we're working hard towards that. So a lot of good things going on over here at GTL. We're definitely, from a product perspective, both on the senior market side primarily, but also have some underage products too, for for those folks that might be in ACA world or such. But I know today, John asked me to talk about hospital indemnity in particular, and so I'll make sure we definitely talk about hospital indemnity, because I believe, hospital indemnity is a cornerstone to you as an agent in general. It doesn't matter underage, overage, if you're selling a med sup, if you're selling an MA, hospital indemnity can be used in any type of scenario, because it's a product that is very inexpensive for an insured to be able to have, but provides a significant amount of benefit and opportunities for protection for that clients might not be able to get otherwise. But one of the things that I look at it from an agent's perspective, so from your perspective, this is the way I would look at it. Talking about hospital indemnity will create a long-term client. Is it because you actually sold a hospital indemnity? That's part of it, but it's because you're going to sell multiple products to the insured, because you do your initial conversation, you offer them coverage, and then now you're going to have a second conversation, and they'll purchase. So now you'll have two policies with the client. Then eventually you'll talk a third option of protection for a client. Now that's what creates the long-term client. And the other thing that makes a lot of, that I love about cross-selling complementary products in general, is that it provides for a number of different touch points that I can have with particular clients. And so the more number of touch points that I have with a client, the more opportunities I have to ask for referrals. And if you aren't asking for referrals, definitely, I'm sure, reach out to John and our leadership here at Global, and have that conversation on what's the best way to be able to obtain referrals, because it's a great way to get new clients for no cost. So that's definitely very important in that perspective. So those are just a couple of things about why to cross sell. We're going to be going through a lot of reasons as I go through this conversation, but and I know, when we talk about hospital indemnity insurance, I know I've had people tell me this in the past, so I'm saying this from information that I've had in the past. People would say to me, well, Demetri, a hospital indemnity plan, it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't provide, it's not whatever, it's not going to be anything major for a particular client. Well, if you had a client that had gotten paid almost $90,000, you think that client would have been saying it wasn't a big deal to get a hospital indemnity plan? So that's what these numbers on the screen here kind of represent. They represent individual insureds that have gotten paid that amount of dollars with their hospital indemnity plan. It's pretty impressive, I would say. It's not a very expensive product for the client. On average, from a big cost basis perspective, clients are paying on average about $500 a year for the premium of a hospital indemnity plan for the various parts that they take coverage with. So if I had a client that had a policy issued since 2009, right? So, and if I was assuming, let's call that it's about 11 years. That's only, and I got paid $90,000 over since 2009. You think that client isn't going to be a happy client? Of course. And that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to help your clients be happy, because obviously if they're happy with us, they're going to be happy with you, which then if they're happy with you, you get referrals, and then you have more conversations about more protection that you can offer for them. But one of the things that we want to definitely make a point though too is that not everybody's going to get $46,000, $90,000 of benefit out of a hospital indemnity. Some will get 20,000, some may get 10, some may get 5, some may get 3,000, depending on situations. But either way, whatever number there is that they get, the whole concept about pennies on the dollar, which represents the premium, to be able to get access to a significant amount of benefit is always going to be a good deal for the clients at the end. Because let's face it, how many of your clients have 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, $80,000 sitting around in savings doing nothing? Not very many, right? Because we know from a statistical informational standpoint is that the average household savings is at $8,800. And if I'm thinking about what happens with most of Americans, that $8,800 is all the savings that they have, and it's not going to be something they want to use against towards their medical expenses, right? So again, pennies on a dollar for premium to be able to get significant amount of benefit and try to keep their regular savings intact. That's a great scenario for the client at the end of the day. Now, maybe you have clients that have 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 sitting around an account. Well, do you think that they're going to want to change, want to use those dollars for all their healthcare? And no, they wouldn't, of course not, right? Because they have a purpose for those dollars, right? They might want to use it for vacation or whatever the case, whatever they want to use it for. And so if they were to use it, get health, if they were to have a health event occur, that would change their lifestyle. Nobody wants their lifestyle to change. So even folks that might have savings accounts that have dollars in it, significant dollars in it, they're still going to be interested and understand the value of having a hospital indemnity plan with their healthcare coverage. So here's another question that's not on the slide per se, but how many insurance carriers have HIP plans with 17 years of HIP claim plan processing experience? I bet you guys know this answer. Only one. That'd be us, GTL. So that's it's kind of a laying the groundwork here to kind of give you an idea really how what the power is of hospital indemnity is, and what you can expect and what you should think about when you're talking about hospital indemnity, because the benefits of cross-selling, which sounded like from when I heard John speak in the beginning, you guys are talking a lot about cross-selling with complementary products, and making that that's part of your process. There's a lot of things that are positive about it. I'm not going to go through every single one of these points up here. I know you guys can see it, but the ones that I think makes a lot of sense is that the ones that's on the left side in the bottom row, standing out from other agents. That's huge. That's really big right there, guys, because not everybody really goes out there and does a complete job for their clients. A lot of agents go out there and they say to their clients, "Oh, you wanted to talk to me about Medicare? Okay, well, that's all I'm going to talk to you about. I'm not going to probe any further. I'm going to get my Medicare sale and walk away." By talking about other products and such, you're going to definitely, differentiate yourself with that particular client, which again leads to the other positives that occur when you're building the long-term relationships. One of the things that I'm always a big fan of, and I'll bring it up here because I think probably good from a timing perspective. I know we always talk about, from a sales perspective, number of sales, always make sure, don't think of yourself as a salesperson, think of yourself as an advisor. And as, kind of as an advisor, you're educating, right? And the more you educate, the more people will buy into your thoughts and your ideas, and they'll buy. That's just part of that natural process. And one of the things that I want to bring up here is that when do we actually talk about what is it that we do for clients? A lot of folks are going to wait and talk about, what they do. Probably they wait till never, because they don't ever tell anybody what is it that they actually do. So I would recommend and I suggest to y'all that if when you first initially have a meeting with a client, even if it's a second and third meeting, doesn't matter. Hey, just want to make sure, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I wanted you to know what is it that I do with my practice. In my practice, I will have these conversations with all my clients about their health insurance plan. We're going to talk about Medicare options that are available to you, but I also offer hospital indemnity. I offer cancer insurance. I offer long-term care and short-term care options potentially, if that's what you offer. If you're offering annuities, if you're offering life insurance, just let them know what it is that you do for your practice. Because this way, if you're telling the client right up front what it is that you do, when you're bringing it up, it's not going to be a shock to them. And they're going to expect to hear other things from you other than just about Medicare, what they initially wanted to meet with. So it's very important, to kind of lay that foundation, do all this foundation work with your clients initially, because then down the road, as you're doing more and more with them and doing more planning, you're gonna be their go-to person. Now, from an overall product perspective, GTL has got a lot of different complementary products that we have available that you can offer to your insureds. We have a precision care lump sum cancer plan and a cancer, heart attack, stroke program that provides lump sum dollars in the event of critical illnesses. Precision care is a phenomenal product. It's a product that has a lump sum cancer benefit, but also has a benefit for genomic sequencing that can be done through TGen. It's a whole other conversation about that, but great product. So if you're looking at cancer insurance, or if you do cancer insurance, you definitely want to look at precision care. Cancer, heart attack, stroke is more of a traditional, cancer, heart attack, stroke type program. And then we're going to talk about our hospital indemnity. We have short-term care products, Recover Cash, and then short-term home health care, which are great products to be able to talk about for those folks that might want LTC but can't afford or qualify for it. We have a greater benefit whole life program for folks that might have some conditions going on, but still have a need for some final expense insurance there. We have, for if you're in the underage market and you're looking for a accident plan to help cover the deductible of the ACA plan that the client has, we have a couple of accident plans called IGAP and 24-hour accident that could be available for you. Also, on the LTC side, there's a critical cash product where it's a pretty unique, pretty rich plan that can be offered for folks that on a critical illness basis. And you might even find us that in a particular state, we might have some competitive med sup rates too. So we got a lot of different things that we can offer and talk about with clients. So, you definitely have the opportunities to be able to have that conversation, have conversations other than the initial one with your insureds. I know you're probably wondering, okay, Demetri, when are you going to talk about hospital indemnity and talk about cross-selling the hospital indemnity plan? Well, that's coming up right now, because I think it's important that we talk about how is it that we can do cross-selling with our clients when we're talking about Medicare. And I'm going to tell you, our hospital indemnity plans can be used if somebody has a med sup or an MAPD. Those are the two major products that these hospital indemnity plans really work well for. Again, it's MedSup and an MAPD program that you may put your clients on. And so what you're going to end up doing is that you're going to end up wanting to, like I said at the beginning, lay it out for your clients, let them know what is it you do, because you got to give them an idea. But then also, it's also important though that we're going to bring up any of these products for our clients, because at the end of the day, when are the insureds going to call you or me, right, to take care of that out-of-pocket hospitalization cost? I think the answer is pretty obvious, right? Most likely after a health event. And so when the health event already occurs, what's the situation? It's already too late to do anything for it because the health event occurred, and there's nothing really from an insurance perspective. You can't really do anything more for that client. So it is imperative that 100% of the time, you're presenting complementary options to your clients and let your client tell you no. Please do not prejudge any particular person that you meet with and say, oh yeah, that person's not going to buy, or yeah, that person's going to buy. You need to be presenting all the time to the clients about the various options that could be available for them, because I have no idea who's going to say yes and who's going to say no. We all can think about individual personal circumstances where, you drove up to an appointment And you had a misconception when you pulled up thinking that that person might not have had any dollars to be able to purchase an additional plan because maybe they're outside of the outside of their home maybe wasn't up to snuff or whatever the case may be, right? There was whatever the perception was that got you to think that. But then when you get into the call in the meeting and you start talking to the person, all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, right? That's why you always got to be presenting about the ideas because you don't really know what's going on based on what the outside picture is all about. I think it's probably one of those things that you might want to put a little note for yourself. Always be presenting to remind yourself to do that. Nothing wrong with doing that either. So let's talk about the cross sell because I think I know you guys are all probably wanting me to move on here, but the way you get started with the cross selling opportunity is very easy. If you're doing a face-to-face appointment, make sure you get the scope of appointment initialed, right? Where it says hospital indemnity, so you can talk about it during the MA appointment. If it's a Med Sup appointment, you don't have to worry about a scope, right? But with an MA, you do. So you initial the scope where it says hospital indemnity, so now you can talk about it at the same times. But here's the key about talking about hospital indemnity at the same time as about the MA product. You're not going to bring it up. You're not selling the hospital indemnity plan at the same time per se. What you're going to say is, okay, now we're going to talk about this Medicare Advantage plan option you have available, and we're also going to talk about hospital indemnity. So let's go over about the Medicare Advantage plan. So this Medicare Advantage plan is going to have a plan cost of $0. So that means there's no premium for you on a monthly basis. How's that sound? Oh my God, really? No way, right? People are going to be surprised about that. And they're going to talk about the doctor's office visit copay. You're going to talk about inpatient hospital care, $250 for days 1 through 6. That's where you're going to, now this is where clients are going to start thinking, that sounds like a lot of money that I'm going to be responsible for. All right, and this is where we're not going to sell at this point. We're just going to plant a seed right here. We're going to say, so if this daily hospital copay is concerning or you'd prefer not to have to budget for it, don't worry. Because after we talk about this Medicare Advantage plans, benefits, and copays, I'll explain how for about $1 a day, we can lower your net out-of-pocket hospitalization expenses to $0 with a hospital indemnity plan. Does that sound good? I'll wait a second. So I know you guys are probably clicking with your phones right now, taking pictures of that language, but it's a very simple language just like that. We're not selling it though. We're not talking about the hospital indemnity at this point. If the client asks you, say, I understand you might have questions about what I just said, but we'll handle those questions once we decide, once you see the whole program on with a Medicare Advantage plan. And then as you get the skilled nursing copays, you get outpatient surgery copays, ambulance copays and such, all you have to do once you hit those other type of copays is say, don't worry about these copays. I'll show you with a hospital indemnity plan how I can take care of those too. Planting the seeds. That's all we're doing. We're farmers right now. We're planting seeds. And then once you go through the Medicare Advantage plan and talk about that, and the client says, yes, you know what, I want to go ahead with the Medicare Advantage plan. It makes sense. And then, then now is when you're going to go through the application process. And when you got about 2-3 minutes left in the application process with the MA plan, now you can start with your transitioning to the cross-selling conversation for hospital indemnity. And if you have our brochure and you're face-to-face with a client, on the brochure, you'll see a QR code. Take your mobile device, scan the QR code. It'll access our consumer video that you can play for your client to have them kind of get ready as you're finishing up the application. And as you're finishing up the application, they're viewing the video. And then once you're done with the video, then you can go right into the product conversation about what you think the client can, might want to look at. So I'm going to play a video for you so that you know what it looks like and what it sounds like.
So, you just enrolled for Medicare Advantage health coverage. Great choice. Did you know there is additional coverage you can add to protect you from the out-of-pocket medical expenses you are still responsible for? Help fill any gaps in coverage and strengthen your financial protection with a hospital confinement indemnity insurance policy from Guaranteed Trust Life Insurance Company. Since 2005, GTL's industry-leading hospital indemnity insurance has been helping clients lower or completely eliminate their net out-of-pocket expenses stemming from Medicare Advantage copays and deductibles after a hospitalization event. Coverage is affordable and pays you directly based on your time in the hospital, regardless of any other healthcare coverage you have or where in the U.S. you receive care. Your potential out-of-pocket costs could be for a variety of services, including ambulance trips, outpatient therapy, critical accidents, and more. GTL's hospital indemnity insurance allows you to customize your coverage to help cover these and many others. Let's see a quick example on how it works. Meet Beth. She is 65 years old and her Medicare Advantage coverage leaves her responsible for a daily hospitalization copay of $300 per day for her first 6 days in the hospital. Knowing she would be responsible for her high copay, her agent helped her customize and apply for a GTL hospital indemnity insurance policy. Beth's new policy provided a restorable 6-day benefit period of $300 per day for less than $25 per month. A few months later, Beth suffered an illness that kept her in the hospital for 6 days. Her GTL hospital indemnity insurance kicked in after the first 6 hours of her stay. Beth received $1,800 directly from GTL for her hospitalization, which she used to completely cover her Medicare Advantage copay. Instead of worrying about how to pay her high copay, Beth could focus on her recovery without a financial setback. You shouldn't have to worry about covering out-of-pocket medical expenses. So now is a great time to think about GTL's hospital indemnity insurance.
Well, that's a video that's available to to you as an agent through our web, through our e-app process. One of the things that I tell agents about our video is you can use it as part of your marketing. You can access this video by going to again through the the brochure cover page there on the QR code, but also if you go to our e-app and go under GT Link, Consumer Marketing, Advantage Plus, or Advantage Plus Elite, depending on which product we're talking about, you're working with. Now, you can take the link from that video and put it into Facebook post, Instagram post, LinkedIn, email blast. So you can definitely use it as part of your marketing. Then just put a little messaging in the front of it saying that if you this clients, if this is something you're interested in, give me a call. Be happy to talk to you about it and so forth. So that's what's available for you. If you're connected to the internet, that's when you can use the video. Now, there's going to be situations out there where you may not be connected to the internet, and you can always order some infographics that we can send out to you that you can utilize when as you're cross-selling to your clients. So when you're at that point, when you got a couple minutes left before you're done with your app, you can push the slide over this infographic to get your client thinking about the hospital indemnity. So we're definitely got a lot of options there in that regard. So we do have both products available, Advantage Plus and Advantage Plus Elite, depending on the state that you're in. So for the most part, what is the difference between, if you're familiar with the Advantage Plus versus the Elite? The big differences is that after our short-term duration benefit, now that kicks in after 6 hours instead of 12 hours. We have more plan choices that we can offer, which we'll go over. Premiums got reduced some. We enhanced the ER benefit, and which basically what that enhancement is that we also included urgent care as an option in terms of people seeking help on an emergency basis, and also do not require hospitalization to be able to receive the benefit. Now, if anybody bought an Advantage Plus program prior to September of this year, we're working with the states right now to get approvals to include the ER benefit upgrade at no additional cost to those insureds, and then also to be able, if they have the short-term duration rider, to include that as part of the instead of 12 hours to make it down to 6 hours. So that's going to all be given included with the folks that already have policies with GTL today. Easier underwriting. Our look back period for our hospitalization question has just gone down to 3 months, so 90 days instead of where most everybody else out there is 12 months. So, and our other chronic condition look backs are 12 months. So it's really easy underwriting. We have more options for the skilled nursing. We now just introduced a new rider for GTL, which was occupational therapy rider, which I'll go over here shortly. And then we've also just lowered our rates on a surgical rider, which now makes it really beneficial for your clients to want to have a outpatient surgical rider. And I was always I think it makes a lot of sense now for you for sure. And at the end of the day, what wraps it all up to makes the Advantage Plus an elite product is that our claims process is awesome. The folks in claims really try to bend over backwards to try to take care of covering the cost, covering the claims that the folks submit for. The light green states that you see there are going to be Advantage Plus Elite. Okay. Now that's now the only differences to this slide that you have here, because it just recently got updated, just got upgraded here, was North Carolina and Kansas also have Advantage Plus Elite now. So those just recently in the last week or so just got upgraded. I just haven't had a chance to clean up my slide here, so I apologize for that. But all the other states, every state has a hospital indemnity option available to them, with the exception of Alaska, California, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and DC. Every other state, though, you do business in, you're good. You don't have, you're going to have a hospital indemnity plan available to you. Now, the thing that you want to pay attention and know about our complementary products just generically is that, even if you bought your complementary product in Illinois, let's say, and you go on vacation to Alaska and you get hospitalized in Alaska, we'll still pay a benefit because you have a policy in force, right? Or if you move to Alaska and you had the policy and you bought the policy in Illinois, you moved to Alaska, well, you can keep that policy in force. You're still going to get the benefits of that program. So you don't have to change. The point is that you don't have to change because you change states, to a plan that might not be available in that state or is available in that state. Whatever you bought initially will still follow you and stay with you. I think it's important. It's an important distinction, important feature from a sales perspective to let your clients know that, because many of your clients may say, "Yeah, today I'm living in Illinois, but I might want to move to Florida." Well, they'll follow me down to Florida. Because there's products in Illinois they can buy or other states that aren't going to be available in Florida. So in Florida, we do have a hospital indemnity plan there. It's called Indemnity Plus in Florida. It's an association-based product. And so that's the big difference between that and the Advantage Plus Elite options there. That Indemnity Plus is an association-based product where it's a really robust offering. Everything I talk about right now, going forward, will be part of the Florida offering there. Now, I did mention that we have clients that are existing clients. We're working to give the enhanced base benefits, the ER benefit, and the short-term duration benefit on the existing policyholders. So we're working through that. The states that are green right now have those increased benefits already pushed out to those clients. And we're just going to mail a letter to the clients letting them know that they have the coverage, and there's nothing else they have to do. No increase in premium, nothing you need to do. Just keep on doing what you do. Now, let's talk about hospital indemnity. How easy is it from a product setup perspective to create the right coverage for your clients? It's as simple as asking two simple questions. The first question is going to be, how many days do they get is the hospitalization copay for? I know a lot of folks, it's 5, 6, 7 days, somewhere in that ballpark. Whatever that number is, always make sure you're going to offer your clients a couple days more in the Advantage Plus benefit than what their current copay is on their MA plan, because I don't know what's going to happen next year with the MA plans. It may go down in copay days, it may go up. I have no idea. But the whole idea is that I'm going to need to make sure that I can make this as flexible as I can and still keep it within budget as I can for the client. So if I'm dealing with an MA plan that's a $250 a day plan for 5 days, what I'm going to offer my client, I'm going to look at offering my client is a 7-day option or maybe an 8-day option, right around there. So as you can see, we have a 1-day benefit period option, 3 through 10, and then 15-day option also. The nice thing about these benefit periods is that they will restore when the insured's out of the hospital for consecutive 60 days. Now, does that mean that If they didn't, if they let's look at this as an example just to kind of help prove a point here. So if I chose a 7-day benefit period for my client to have, and my client gets hospitalized for 4 days, and then they get discharged. Now remember, restoration occurs if the insured's out of the hospital for consecutive 60 days. Does that mean that they have to eat up the whole 7 days before that 60 days restores? No, it doesn't. So if you had a client that, was in there for 4 days and then was released, was out of the hospital for 60 consecutive days, they'll have a brand new 7 days if they get hospitalized again. But after they got out of the hospital for those 4 days, they go back in the hospital for another 3 days, 2 weeks later. They still had 3 days left on their benefit period, so they'll still be able to receive benefits out of that plan until they meet that 7 days, and then that's when they're going to need to wait for 60 days of out of the hospital. So hopefully I made that, hopefully that example there helps in understanding how the benefit periods work. But I'm a big believer in that you want to make sure you give a couple, give a little bit of buffer than what your current MA plan has today. Now, the second question you need to take care of is what? Daily confinement amount. If you choose a 1-day benefit period, the daily confinement amount you can choose from is $1,000 to $2,500, and it's going to have a short stay benefit of 25% of the lump sum amount that was chosen. And then if you're doing the 3 through 10 or 15-day benefit periods, you can choose from $100 to $750 per day. Now, the thing that you want to know about is that at all the plans, no matter what it is, they're going to include the short stay benefit, which what that means is that hospital indemnity insurance on itself will pay for every 24-hour period that someone's hospitalized, their benefit that was chosen. But what happens when people get hospitalized and they're not hospitalized for 24 hours? Is that a benefit that's payable for them? Typically not, because it's not a 24-hour period. But we have a benefit as part of our base plan here we call it a short duration benefit, that if they're hospitalized and discharged in the initial 6 to 24 hours, they're still going to receive the one-time daily benefit amount, with the exception of the 1 day. That's 25%. So they get full benefit on the 3 through 10, but 25 on the 1 day. So now clients that are in the hospital for 22 hours will still be able to get some kind of dollars out of the plan, which is very beneficial. Secondly, which is even more, just as important here, is observation status and confinement is the same for us. We do not distinguish between the two, which means we don't have any limits to how many times an observation status can get paid out to a client, which is very important to know that. I know I'm giving you guys a ton of information. I know as long as you hear it, you'll know that you can give these answers to the clients. $10 increments you can choose the benefit for. And again, my little piece of advice on this is that I try to give maybe $30 to $50 more than what their current copay is today on their MA that you're offering them. Again, because I don't know what's going to happen. And the extra dollars that they get from the plan, they can use for other things. So I think it makes a lot of sense to be able to have that conversation there with that clients in that way. Also, part of the base benefit is going to be emergency room benefit, which is $150 for emergency room or urgent care due to an injury, and the hospitalization is not required, which is important. Okay, because it used to be that there was. Now we're remove that gatekeeper there. And then there's also a separate mental health benefit, which is $175 per day, $175 per day for up to 7 days per calendar year for a mental nervous health disorder there. So that's the base benefit. Okay. Very, that's pretty robust right there on its base benefit perspective. Now, many of you may be working with veterans, and if you are, great, but veterans can also utilize a hospital indemnity plan, because with the Advantage Plus program, the Advantage Plus Elite, everyone always says, well, what happens if they go to a VA? Can they still get a hospital indemnity benefit? Guess what that answer is? Absolutely yes. If your client goes to the VA, file a claim, we'll reach out to the VA, get the information to find out what their admittance time and date is and what their discharge time and date is, and we'll make sure we can get that client their benefit that's due to them. Definitely can make a lot of sense there, even for your veteran clients there. All right. So one thing we definitely want to make sure we point out here too is that not every single state that you do business in or you're licensed in is going to be exactly the same. So please make sure you take a look at your state-specific information based on the residency of your clients, on what forms you should be using, and rates and so forth, because states do differ either greatly or slightly depending on the states. But you definitely want to make sure you use the resident state of your client's information when you're talking about the various products in general. Now, the base plan I mentioned to you, very robust already, right? But the riders on our hospital indemnity plan is what really makes this product sing and really completes the overall picture of being able to protect provide a net zero exposure for clients when it comes to their MA plan. We have an ambulance service rider, which is a $50 to $400 benefit in $50 increments, payable 4 times per year, but 12 trips over the lifetime of the rider. So that as an example here, if insurance, they're going to get scared. They're going to call an ambulance they're going to call an ambulance. Even though they're not hospitalized, they'll still be able to receive a benefit that they chose. But if they did get hospitalized, and let's say the next day they had to, get transferred to another medical facility by ambulance, that's another benefit that's payable to that client. And also, it's not just ground ambulance. An air ambulance ride would also qualify that insured for a benefit for, that they've chosen with the ambulance rider. Very, very, very affordable rider here, guys. This is something that's a must add to every single client that you're going to talk to. Lump sum cancer. I'm going to tell you again, this is another must add from a conversation perspective. You definitely want to have this conversation with clients, because radiation chemotherapy copay on an MA plan is what? 20%, which gets applied to the max amount of pocket, right? If you look at the Part B drugs on the radiation chemotherapy, that's where the copay is. If anybody gets diagnosed with cancer that has an MA plan, the likelihood of them hitting their max amount of pocket is going to be pretty good. So the lump sum cancer rider will provide a lump sum benefit for invasive growth spreading cancer at diagnosis. You can choose from $2,500 to $20,000 of benefit. Okay. Also, that comes with this benefit, with this rider, is an in situ benefit, which is 25% of the lump sum amount. And there's also a skin cancer benefit, which is $500 payable 3 times over the life of the rider, 1 time per year. Skin cancer benefit meaning basal cell or squamous cell cancer. That's something that folks just go to dermatologists and get that and get those removed very easily, not very threatening from a severity perspective. Also, just note that there is a 30-day waiting period on this rider, only on this rider here, not the base plan, but the lump sum cancer has the 30-day waiting period. Also, you have an option for a recurrence option. What does that mean? That means that if you had a client that got diagnosed with a growth spreading cancer and they were paid $10,000, and then once they go through their treatment, they're in remission. If they're in remission for 5 years or longer, their lump sum amount restores to the full benefit amount that they've chosen initially. If they got diagnosed with another or same cancer, after 5 years, they'll get paid on another benefit. If it's less than 5 years, they'll get a percentage of what the original benefit was payable to them, like 10, 25, 50, or 100%, as you see in the graph there. So very, very, very affordable rider option on the lump sum cancer rider too. So something to kind of pay attention to when you're talking to your clients. Another big exposure from an MA perspective is skilled nursing benefits, right? If you look at the copays on skilled nursing, I see those are around $160 a day of copays from days 20 to 80 or 100, depending on the MA plan. Well, we got a couple different options that are available, days 1 through 50 or days 21 to 100. You can choose from 100 to 220 in daily benefit. And these skilled nursing riders here are restorable if the insured's out of the hospital for 60 days or longer, or a skilled nursing facility for 60 days or longer. Unlimited restoration, very important there. We do have a qualifier in terms of the insured would need to be hospitalized for 3 days and then admitted within 30 days, like Medicare. But the difference with ours is that observation remember, we count that as the same as confinement. We don't distinguish between the two, right? So if they're under observation for 3 days and then went into skilled nursing, they could qualify for a benefit under this rider. So it's a very nice option there for your clients. And I think this one here can make a lot of sense also. Outpatient surgery rider. Today, I think we all hear about outpatient surgeries going, happening it should be, happen a lot more. Doctors are more and more into outpatient surgeries than ever before. And there's copays about the outpatient surgery on the MA plan. So you can offer that for very, very affordable premium to your clients of $250 through $1,000 of benefit. Now, these benefits are payable 2 times per year. So one thing I want to point out here is make sure when your clients hear about this outpatient surgery rider that they don't confuse this with getting an outpatient diagnostic test like MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, and such like that. It's not about diagnostic tests. It's about surgery itself. So if you have clients that have a cataract surgery done, that's an outpatient surgery. That would be a benefit payable, for example. Then also, if you have an MA plan that has a higher copay limits in the early parts of the days, like maybe days 1, 2, 3 or something like that, you may want to throw on there a lump sum hospital benefit, which in addition to their daily benefit amount, they can get $250, $500, or $750, which is also restorable after not being hospitalized for 60 days. So you can get this a number of different times too. It's just an additional, to be able to get more dollars in the front end is what that's designed to do. You may or may not use it, need it with your MA plans that you're working with, but it is an option there to have available for you. Now, what's new to GTL and new for the Advantage Plus Elite, the outpatient therapy benefit. It's a $50 benefit for outpatient therapy for physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. Now, you can choose to have a 15-day benefit period or a 30-day benefit period. I'm going to tell you today, look at the 30-day benefit period because the cost difference between the 15 and 30-day is so small. We're talking less than $1 a month that you're better off giving your client more day options for sure on that one. And then, so it is limited to one $50 benefit per day. So it's not multiple per day, it's one per day. And also there's a chiropractic therapy that's available so if they go to chiropractic therapy 5 times in a given year, they can get $50 per day on that, but for that services too. So it's definitely very affordable. I'll show you pricing here really soon. We have a critical accident rider here, which is an accidental death benefit rider. They can choose either a $5,000 or $10,000 plan. And if they were to have a hip fracture or something like that, and they get paid out a benefit for that, that would reduce the accidental death benefit by the amount that was paid out, and then the remaining would be available for it in the event of an accidental death. This is also has a 30-day wait period too. It's another market appropriate rider, but is it something that is necessary? When you're talking to an MA client, not necessary, but it's a nice to have, I think. So here's some product closures that we definitely want to make sure we're going to talk about. The issue ages are from ages 40 to age 85. Now the product is issue age rated. So that means that if your client bought this plan at age 65 and their premium was $42 a month, it's going to stay $42 a month for many years to come. Remember, we've been doing this product now since 2005. We're the first ones that ever come out with a plan really designed to help with the MA, copays, and we've been doing it since then. We've never had a rate increase, and we're not even sniffing at that going forward. So everything's going great. So your clients can expect the same thing. In most states, you're going to have a guarantee issue window from ages 64 and a half to 65 and a half, which means they're not going to need to answer the first 5 health questions. If you do the lump sum cancer rider, you always have to answer those questions. I talked about the rate being the same as they age. There is we on the Advantage Plus Elite product, on the regular Advantage Plus, we still have the application fee, but on the Advantage Plus Elite, we removed the application fee, the one-time application fee. So now what it is, it's a annual $20 application fee, policy fee, but it is commissionable in the first year. Just so you know, it is commissionable in the first year. And as always, benefits are paid directly to the policyholder, which is important because this way the client can choose what to do with the dollars. Now let's take a look at some examples here of from a dollars and cents perspective, why I'm saying it makes a lot of sense for your clients to look at these hospital indemnity plans. Even from the MedSup perspective, you can really look at it from a number of different ways here. But $20 is a premium minimum on a monthly basis for this to get a new plan issued for an insured. So if you had a client that had a $250 copay on their MA plan and a $300 copay on their hospitalization, they go in the hospital for one day, their total copay they have to pay out of pocket is $550 that they know they're going to have to pay for. Okay. I can cover that with an Advantage Plus program here. Okay. For $320 of annualized premium. Now, what does that mean for me? From that, I'm going to look at a 6-day benefit period. Okay. So what does that mean? For 6-day benefit period, $300 a day, $250 ambulance, it's going to cost $320 a year. So if I get hospitalized for 6 days at $300, that's $1,800 I'm going to be responsible for, plus the $250. So that means I'm a little over $2,000 I got to shell out. And how about if that happens twice in a given year? Now I just doubled that, right, to $3,600 for the same $320. So the $320 at age 65, which the cost stays the same, is going to be something that is going to be very, 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 very cost effective for your clients at the end of the day. Now let's take a look here of some of the options that are available. If you have a 6-day copay on your MA plan and $250, we'll just use $250 as the example. $250 that their MA plan has. Well, how about if we suggest that you do a $300 a day plan for your client, which includes the policy fee? How about if you do an 8-day benefit period instead of covering up just a straight 6? Because I don't know what's going to happen in years to come, and I don't want them try to play that game to say, well, if you qualify, I can get you more coverage. More than likely, you probably won't qualify because health happens, right? So if health happens, you're going to have this benefit already locked in for your clients. So you're not going to have to worry about trying to make adjustments down the road. So for 8-day benefit period instead of the 6-day, you're only looking at $3 a month difference to be able to give them that peace of mind of maybe next year my MA plan might go up to 7 days. It might go down to 5 days. That's fine. But I'm going to have a pretty good cap here. Ambulance rider. Look how inexpensive that is. Lump sum cancer rider. This is really inexpensive. It's going to take around 24 years for somebody of paying this amount of premium before it equals the $7,500 benefit that I'm showing here. That's a pretty good value there. When you're talking 65-year-old, 24, 25 years later, well, you're looking at 65, 85, 88, 89 years old by the time they would get diagnosed with cancer. So that could be a good opportunity, a good dollar added value there for your clients. Skilled nursing option, $11 a month. Outpatient surgery, $6.22 a month. Outpatient therapy, $6.06 a month. So really, you're talking about a issue age product for $75 a month. So your cost is not going to go up from $75 a month, and your MA cost is $0. And think about it. Maybe you have an MA plan that is giving Part B back to your client. So if they're getting Part B back, your net cost of having a hospital indemnity plan after all, everything could be very, very minimal when you take that all into consideration. So, because I don't know of I can't think of from a MedSup perspective. A lot of the MedSups that I know about there, they're about $100, $110, $120 a month, and they're going to go up, and that's not even including the PDP cost. So what's $75, $72 in comparison? You're fixing your cost. It's a really good, good situation there for your clients. I want to show you here what it looks like for an age 70-year-old individual to kind of give you an idea from a cost. Why it's important to look at it at younger ages, because it's going to be less expensive. Is it dramatically more expensive? No, it's not dramatically more expensive. But hey, if I can save a couple of dollars here or there because I talk to my clients at a younger age, I definitely want to make sure I do that. Now, here's the big question: is what is it that I offer to my clients on every single appointment? This is the conversation I should have on every single appointment. And the reason why I use this as a conversation I should have on every single appointment is because this is what's going to cover the maximum out-of-pocket exposure. $67 at age 67 will take care of this scenario for the client. Client has a $250 copay, 5 or 6 day, MA plan that they have. I'm going to show them an 8-day for $300 a day, put an ambulance rider on there, put a lump sum cancer at $7,500 because federal mandates this, federal number is $7,500 for MOOP. So I want to make sure I at least cover that. And then I'll do a skilled nursing option at $160 a day for option 2. So that's coverage of days 21 to 100, $67.56 a month. I'm going to present them. This is why I'm showing this to you, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Jones may say, that's premium's too much. Okay. Well, what would you like me to remove, Mr. and Mrs. Jones? You tell me. Would you want me to remove the skilled nursing rider? Okay, not a problem. Let's remove the skilled nursing rider. The premium that's going to be, it would be now would be $54.85. You're going to get a lot of folks that say, okay, not a problem. Let's go with that. That sounds great. I understand it. Perfect sense. You're going to have some folks that say, instead of removing the skilled nursing, maybe they want to remove the lump sum cancer. Okay, so if you remove the lump sum cancer, maybe that's $43. They may say a lot yes to that. You never know, right? And then you're going to have some folks that are going to say, yeah, still not comfortable with $43 or $54. How about if we just do the base coverage of $30.65? And then you're going to have good, solid coverage, take care of hospitalization and ambulance. That's fine too. If your client's involved, your sales are going to be much more solid and much more, much more stickier from a persistency standpoint. A lot of times when we talk about hospital indemnity objections, people are talking about they have an MA plan out there that will have a monthly premium associated with it, with their MA plan. So now this is where you can have an opportunity to switch them to a different MA plan with zero premium. Yes, that might increase their out-of-pocket exposure, but what's going to end up happening? You put on an MA plan, they had a premium of, let's say, $30, $35 or something like that. Now you put them on an MA plan that has zero premium, but higher exposure. Now you add a hospital indemnity plan in there and you cover all their exposure from a base, a hospitalization perspective that they're worried about. And it's going to be a wash, and they're having zero out-of-pocket costs. That could be something they want to take a look at too. Now, that was all the product information, guys. I know it's a lot of information, but it's all good stuff. Underwriting wise, super simple underwriting. Yes, no application. The answer no to all the health questions, the policy is going to be issued. Again, guarantee issue from ages 64 and a half to 65 and a half. It's important. And this is like a must do, guys. A 6-month pre-X, it does apply to guarantee issue and regular sales. Let your clients know about 6-month pre-X. Again, we're the professionals. They're not. They don't know how to spell insurance. We got to teach them a little bit about insurance at times. This is one of them. Want them to understand what does a 6-month pre-existing condition language mean? And simply what does that mean is that, yes, you can answer no to all the health questions, which is great. You will get your coverage. But you may see a doctor for something that has nothing to do with these questions. And that situation that you saw a doctor for within the 6 months that the policy was issued, you might end up in the hospital because of that, for example, within the first 6 months that the policy is in force. And if that's the case, that wouldn't be a covered situation. That's all that 6 months pre-X means. But if you were to get hospitalized 6 months and 1 day after the policy was in force, then this policy will cover that. Hey, anything that might come up out of the blue today, after we get the policy in force, that's going to be covered day one. So that's what the pre-X means. Okay, contestability period. Let your clients know that the policies are contestable for 24 months. All health insurance is contestable for 24 months. Even life insurance is contestable for 24 months. The contestability period is more just to make sure that the clients answered appropriately, the health questions, basically is what that's about. Monthly bank drafts are something that we see the most of, but there is the quarterly, semi-annual, and annual options for direct bills. Here's what the health questions look like. If you were wondering all this time what the health questions are. 3-month look back on our hospitalization question number 1 on the left there. 12-month look back on the chronic conditions that we ask for on the health side. Now, if you have clients that are going to be wanting the cancer rider, even if it's GI timeframe, they still have to answer these 3 questions. No, then the rider will be issued. If they answered yes to lump sum cancer riders, but they answer no to all health questions, they can still get the health questions. So, okay, so now let's talk about app submission. We have a number of different ways we can submit an application. You can submit an application, versus by paper, with paper applications, scan it into the computer, and then email it to us at und@gtlic.com. That's one way. Or e-apps. We have 2 e-app options: mobile app, and then we also have a web-based version. Mobile app is great for when you're face-to-face with a client. And since you're face-to-face with a client, you're going to be able to capture their signature right on your mobile device. They sign your screen, and then you go ahead and submit, and the policy will be issued. If you're doing telephonic sales, we suggest that you use our web-based version. So you go to gtlic.com, agent login, and then you do an application through our web-based, and then through that web-based, we'll prompt you to do a voice verification call, which is an artificial intelligence system. And then the artificial intelligence will ask the questions, and then once that gets completed, you submit it, and the policy is going to be issued. Now, if you want to download our mobile app, go to the Apple Store or Google Play Store, search GTL eApp. You'll see the turquoise colored icon there, and then you'll be able to download that onto your mobile device. Now, I'm going to show you a quick 1-minute video on how to submit an application through our eApp. And this is where you get prompted to do the voice verification call with the artificial intelligence system here, and with a phone number where to reach. And always recommend to do that while you're doing while you got the client on the phone. Do a third-party call, so this way you can get that taken care of. And then sometimes you're going to have a situation where, as you're quoting folks via eApp on our web-based, where they're not going to say, I'm not ready for the application right now. You can do what we call is invite to apply. It's a button on the bottom right there, and you'll be able to send, put in your email address and your client's email address, and then send them the application to be able to complete it at their leisure, and then they'll send it back to you, and then you submit it for the client. Very easy there. If you're wondering from a claims perspective, because I know that's always a question that always comes up, what about claims? It's a very simple claim process. This first page of the claims form is a checklist. What is it that the client needs to submit so that this way they can give us the right forms up front? Then they need to complete this form here, which is their name, policy number, and then what, a little information about the claim, how it was an accident, was an injury, and so forth. Very easy right here. Next form that they need to be completed is a Hipaa form. Need that to be able to get information and release information from the medical providers to us, because we need to have that information. And the last thing, if it's a hospitalization, is a UB04 form that's provided by the hospital to the insured. They can submit that with the claim form. That gives us the information that's necessary to be able to process the claim in a very quick manner here. From a claims perspective, you definitely want to make sure you manage your client's expectations. I think it's you want to make sure they understand they need various forms to be able to take care of that, the HIPAAs and so forth. And medical records if medical records are necessary, we get them. We go on and grab those for that, for the clients. We do follow up with the doctor's office about every 3 days or so. So it is something that does happen there. And for those of you that are interested, we do have a client presentation piece that's available that you might want to have handy to kind of keep you on track on the conversation if you want. That's available under our GT link. That's available. That's going to be available. GT link client marketing materials. You'll see client presentation on there from a power, like a PDF version here. That's going to be something that's available to you. And also, just if you were wondering, if you're not currently contracted with GTL and you want to know how if you want to, first time you get contracted, you call John up or the office there at Global Premier and say, I want to get contracted with GTL. They'll get you contracted, and then you'll get emailed a writing code number. Then you'll come here to gtlic.com, agent login, see where it says sign up now. You'll input your writing number that we provided you. Then the other information that we asked for, and then you're going to create your own username and password. Once you create your own username and password, you hit submit registration. You'll get a message that says, registration submitted, and then you can go right away on both the mobile app and our web-based version here. You can use both username and password the same way. So mine's so now I log in right away, and I can go right here, quote submit. So I can quote submit, right? Submit applications. Oh, I got an MA plan. I can go to fill the gaps, and let's say I want to take a look at, I want to take a look at a zip code. Let's see, I'm going to use one that's completely, I have no idea who it is or where it's at. And I'm going to say, hey, look, Mr. Jones, you're at 43065. Who's your Medicare Advantage plan with? Oh, it's with, I don't know, let's say it's Humana. Okay, let's say you chose a PPO plan. Okay, great. Well, here's what I see as being, is this the right plan? Yes. Okay. Well, this is what we can cover up with our hospital indemnity plan. So it's a nice way to be able to, and then if you want to go ahead straight to the application, you can do that right through here. You can definitely do that there. So I encourage you to play around with that. It definitely makes sense. Access the GT link. This is where you can download and order supplies right here. Full webinars for other products are right there. Business. Consumer marketing, this is the important piece right here. So if you're looking at the Advantage Plus Elite and you want to get that client video to put into a marketing piece or into Facebook or something like that, just go on here, click on the video. Then once you get on the video, you can highlight, copy, and then go to Facebook. If you have Facebook opened up as there's another tab over here, go into your Facebook, paste it right into Facebook. And you can go ahead and use that as marketing or put it in an email address, into an email they may send out to clients and such. So you definitely got a lot of options that you can do there from that perspective. If you want to know how to navigate through our e-app, always use the hamburger symbols over here. So right here, those are those little three symbols stacked on top of each other. Those are the hamburger symbols. Even on the regular e-app, you want to use that as the way to navigate. And then so I know I went through a lot of information for you today. And so if there is ever anything that, we can do to assist, please, please let us know. Be happy to help you in any way possible. We can be reached at 800-323-6907. You can also text that number if you'd like, and you get a response via text to the same 800-323-6907. Or if you prefer email, our folks there at sales support, look at agency@gtlic.com. We're available sales support wise Monday through Thursday from 8 to 6 Eastern time, and on Fridays from 9 to 1 Eastern. So with that, hopefully I didn't completely overloaded you with information, but I think it's very important to at least hear it, and then we can obviously talk more about it as you see fit. Feel free to give us a call with any questions you have. And I do see that there's some questions in the chat, so let me take a look and see what kind of questions I can answer for you.
Yep. What I can do is just rattle through some here. Some of them were answered already. I see Lamel's question about getting digital copies of the brochures. As Demetri just showed you, you can log into the portal, and there is a section there for marketing material under GT Link, so you can get the marketing material there. What else do we have here?
I do see what age does the coverage drop off? It's guaranteed renewable for life as long as the client pays the premium. It'll be enforced until they're, if they hit 100, the client's enforced, policy enforced, they'll have coverage.
Yep. And the difference between the Advantage and the Advantage Plus?
The big difference between the Advantage and Advantage Plus is that the Advantage Plus, it all works the same. We've kind of updated the base benefits on the Advantage Plus Elite with the emergency room benefit and the short duration stay. If they included it with the original Advantage Plus, that everybody will get that eventually. That everyone will end up with Elite benefits. We have some additional riders on the Elite program. We changed the qualification. If you do have clients with a Advantage Plus currently, do not look at it as saying I need to rewrite the whole policy. If you need to make adjustments, add to the Advantage Plus program that they have today. You want to add to that. You don't want to change it all up, because the thing with insurance is that if you change it all up, you're going to have a brand new contestability period and a brand new 6-month pre-ex, which can get us all into some trouble. And the reason why it can get us into trouble is that if you rewrote somebody and then somebody got the new policy, and then they went in the hospital and there was a pre-ex scenario, before they wouldn't have to worry about it because they already met the 6-month and a 24-month of contestability. There was a claim would have just been paid. So you want to make sure that anything you do with existing clients, it's just going to be an additional coverage or an add-on of benefits type of scenario. Now, you definitely want to make sure you keep what they have, because it's also they're younger, so the likelihood of that being a better price point for them is going to be good there too. So there's a little bit of that there. So.
Yeah. See, another question here about the initial premium. Is that withdrawn? Like when is that withdrawn in reference to the application date?
Okay, so it's going to be drawn on the effective date. So if you make the effective date to be, today's the 12th of January, and let's say you just said today let the products could be effective today, then we'll draft upon issuance. If you ask that the draft occurs on 2/1, for example, then we'll wait to draft until 2/1. We'll make the effective date to be 2/1, and then if you said that you wanted the drafting to occur on the 3rd of every month, then it's going to happen on the 3rd. And after effective date there. So that's how that would work. I do see a question here. If for Florida resident to have an emergency hospital in New York, absolutely still covered in New York, even though we don't sell in that state, as long as they have the coverage in force. If they go to New York, California, Vermont, New Hampshire, they'll still be able to get that benefit.
Outstanding. Well, Demetri, I want to thank you. Phenomenal job. We'll give you a virtual round of applause here. And again, guys, the information as far as questions, you can call into this number or email. I see they even have text option as well. So, there are options available. So, again, thank you again for a very thorough presentation. I know there's some other products that you have, and maybe we can have you come back and talk about the other products, the supplements and final expense and so forth.
Absolutely. We'd be happy to do that. John, thank you for the time today, and thank you for everybody for the business, and look forward to working with you even more this year.
Outstanding. Well, thanks again, everybody, for joining. I know we are a little bit over the top, but phenomenal information. Hey, guys, the key thing here is information without application is just entertainment. So please use the information that was shared today. And one of the most profound aspects of Demetri, what Demetri said, is that we should not be predetermining whether or not a customer is eligible or a candidate for these products. the point is, let them know what their exposures are. And I think that Fill the Gaps tool is a great tool that you can use with not only your existing clients, but customers you talk to say they're happy with what they have. Just pull up their plan. You'll see what the gaps are. Offer them a solution. They're going to say yes or they're going to say no. You have a 50-50 chance. Okay. So the key thing here, guys, let's go out there and do some good. And I'll talk to you all soon. You have a great day.